What is going on, guys? Crow5880 here, and today I'm bringing you another Brave Frontier global video. This time we have Trial X, Rainbow Goddess, which is Tilith's Extra Trial, and by completing this trial you get the material required to evolve your Tilith to her 7-star form. So let's go straight into the team composition here. So as you can see, I do have a squad set up already. Now don't panic if you do not have a Kulyuk. You can take an Xerte lead here instead and then take Kulyuk as a friend. But in this case I'll be taking my own Kulyuk as a lead, and then I'll be bringing alongside an Xerte as a friend. Now the Kulyuk I brought along had Occult Treasure and Fallacy Orb equipped, and the L gift that he had was boost to defense and HP by 20%, boost BC efficacy, and boost overdrive gauge fill rate. As for the enhancements that my Kulyuk had, he had add BB gauge boost when attacked effect to BB and SBB, then the enhanced version of this, and then add HP restoration when damage dealt effect to BB and SBB. Then I decided to bring along Nyami as a nuker. She does help to take down the units a bit faster. She's more of a filler unit really, and she had Beiorg armor and Infidelity orb, and greatly boost attack when BB gauge is full L-gif. Then I decided to bring along Sirius. Now Sirius had Bourn, Jewel and Heresy orb, and the L-gif he had was spark damage, slightly boost BC and HC drop rate, and a 40% boost to spark damage. That L-gif you get from completing the Thunder Frontier Gate. Then I brought along the MVP unit Magress, who had Leomurg and enhancing device and boost to BB gauge each turn L-gif. Now the reason why he's the MVP unit here is because he has 2-turn mitigation, and 2-turn mitigation helps a lot because Tilith does do a lot of BB gauge drain. So as you can see, there's that 2-turn mitigation, and it helps a lot. He's a free unit as well, so you should have him. There shouldn't really be any excuses. There will be a lot more units in the future coming out, such as Krans, that also have the 2-turn mitigation, so you can use him as well. But in this case I'm using Magress because he is a free unit and you can get him fairly easy from honor summon, etc. And then finally I brought Shida along. He had Beiorg armor and bond of Rih'Alnase, and then 15% boost to all stat L-gif. If you do have Alanon, I highly recommend bringing Alanon instead of Shida, but I brought along Shida here to kind of show that legacy units still have a use even in this age of Omni units. And then the friend I brought here was the Xerte friend with Infidelity Orb and Patutha, and the enhancements that Xerte had was 20% boost to all parameters, 50% boost to spark damage, and enhanced spark damage boost effect added to BB and SBB. And like I said, if you don't have your own Kulyuk, then just take an Xerte lead instead and then bring along a Kulyuk friend. As for the items I brought 2 Crescent Dews, 2 Revive Lights, 3 Fusion Tonics, 2 Fusion Potions, and 1 Hero Crystal. So this trial consists of 3 different phases. So in the first phase you will be up against Tilith's 6-star form, and during this phase she will be summoning both Lugina and Paris in their 7-star forms. Now there are a couple of rules you need to follow during this phase. In particular, when Tilith says the white hemisphere has begun to shine, that means that you can only use 2 Brave Burst or Super Brave Burst attacks on the following turn. If you fail to follow this, then she will heal up by 500,000 HP, and that can set you back a considerable amount. So make sure you are keeping an eye for when she says the white hemisphere has begun to shine, and this usually occurs on a 4-turn timer. This timer does reset whenever you use 2 Brave Bursts on any turn, so make sure you're just looking out for that message when she says the white hemisphere has begun to shine, and that's the warning for that you need to use 2 Brave Burst or Super Brave Burst attacks on the following turn. Furthermore, if you use any ultimate Brave Burst attacks during this phase, then Tilith will open up with a very powerful AoE attack at the start of phase 2. Now there are 2 ways to tackle this. Either don't use any ultimate Brave Burst attacks during the first phase, or if you do use an ultimate Brave Burst attack during phase 1, then when you finish off Tilith in this phase, you need to be finishing her off with UBB mitigation on, so that you can survive that AoE attack at the start of phase 2. As for Tilith's HP thresholds, at 80% HP she summons Lugina and Paris. At 60% HP, she will use a powerful single target attack on the unit with the highest HP, so make sure you mitigate and guard the unit with the highest HP. Then at 40% HP she will do this again, but this time on the unit with the highest attack. And then at 20% HP she will do this twice, but this time targeting the unit with the highest defense, and the lowest HP, so make sure you're having that mitigation on and guarding the units that need to be guarded. As for Lugina and Paris, they also have their own abilities as well. Lugina can be inflicted with injury and sickness, and every 3 turns Lugina will be using a powerful single target attack, so make sure you have mitigation on and guard any thunder units, because that single target attack does have a high probability of targeting any thunder units you have. Furthermore, once Tilith reaches 10% HP, Lugina will enter overdrive and then use a massive ultimate brave burst attack 3 turns after. There are 2 ways you can tackle this: either curse Lugina, or you can completely nuke Lugina completely before Tilith even reaches 10% HP. This is the most recommended way in my opinion. This is why a lot of people say that you need to focus on Lugina first once he's summoned. As for his HP thresholds, at 80% HP, Lugina will use a powerful AoE attack, so make sure you have mitigation on and guard any low HP and thunder units. Then at 50% HP, he will use a very powerful single target attack that deals 50,000 damage, which usually targets the unit with the highest attack. Now you can either have UBB mitigation on or have normal mitigation on and guard the unit with the highest attack. In this case I used Sirius's UBB so that I could have that UBB mitigation on, and it also helps to nuke Lugina down as soon as possible. And then at 30% HP he will use the same AoE attack he used at 80%. As for Paris, she can be inflicted with weakness and sickness, and then her HP thresholds at 90% HP she will use a 15,000 damage single target attack on the unit with the highest defense. Mitigation is just enough to survive that. Then at 60% HP she will use a small AoE attack, have mitigation on and you should be fine. Then at 40% HP she'll use that same single target attack, this time targeting the unit with the lowest defense. So again, make sure you have mitigation on and you should survive that fairly easily. And then finally at 20% HP, Paris will enter overdrive, and then she will charge up for her UBB attack, which she will use 3 turns after. Now the best way to cancel that out is by using Brave Burst or Super Brave Burst on all of your units, and that will cancel her UBB attack out. Or you can use UBB mitigation, but I highly recommend using BB and SBB on all of your units. Now over here you can see that I'm finishing off Tilith in this first phase with Kulyuk's ultimate Brave Burst attack to survive that AoE at the start of phase 2. Now phase 2 consists of Tilith's 6-star form again, this time with a couple of different rules, and this time she will be summoning Seria and Karl's 7-star forms instead. During this phase you can only use 4 Brave Burst or Super Brave Burst attacks per turn. And when Tilith does say the white hemisphere has begun to shine, you can only use Brave Burst and Super Brave Burst on all of your units, and that usually occurs on that 4-turn timer again. So if you fail to follow this rule, she will pretty much drain all of your units' Brave Burst gauges and inflict a BB fill rate debuff on your units, which can cripple your BB management considerably. Also, do not use any ultimate Brave Burst attacks at all while Tilith's HP is above 50%, or she will use an AoE that wipes out your squad, and she will cast a very strong HP regeneration buff. As for her HP thresholds, at 80% HP she will summon Seria and Karl's 7-star forms. At 60% HP she will use a powerful single target attack on the unit with the highest HP, so make sure you have mitigation on and guard the unit with the highest HP. And then at 20% HP she will use that same attack but twice, this time targeting the unit with the highest attack and the lowest HP, so make sure you mitigate and guard both of those units. Now Seria is the key unit you want to focus on and take her out first. So Seria can be inflicted with injury and weakness. Every 3 turns Seria will use a powerful single target attack on a random unit. Just having mitigation on will help to survive that very easily. Once Tilith passes 20% HP, Seria will enter overdrive and then charge up until the 3rd turn when she uses her massive ultimate Brave Burst attack, which inflicts a very heavy damage over time buff and a very strong attack down debuff. Now the best way to tackle this in my opinion is to take down Seria before Tilith can even reach 20% HP. This is why I brought Nyami here, to pretty much help me nuke down Seria as quick as possible. As for Sirius HP thresholds, at 80% HP, Saria will use a powerful single target attack on a random unit, so make sure you have mitigation on. And then at 60% HP, she will do that same random unit single target attack again, so just make sure you have mitigation on and you will survive that fairly easily. And then finally at 50% HP, Saria will gain a hit count buff and a HP regeneration buff. Now is at this point I highly recommend you try to take her down as quick as possible. This is because 10 turns after you pass 50% HP on Saria's HP bar, she will use a very strong AoE attack, which usually is survivable with mitigation, but it's usually best to quickly nuke her down as quick as possible. As for Carl can be inflicted with weakness. At 80% HP, Carl will use a random single target attack that casts a damage over time buff on the targeted unit for 3 turns. Now the damage over time buff isn't too strong, it's quite survivable without any heal over time buffs, but if you do have a unit with heal over time, that can help quite a bit to tackle that. Then at 60% HP and 30% HP, he will use that same random single target attack again, and then cast the damage over time buff on the targeted unit. Also, what I haven't written here is that at 50% HP on Carl's HP bar, he will gain a mitigation buff which he will keep recasting every 6 turns. Then finally at 20% HP on Carl's HP bar, he will enter overdrive, and then he will charge up until the 3rd turn when he uses his powerful ultimate Brave Burst attack. Now you can cancel this ultimate Brave Burst attack the same way you cancelled out Paras's attack in the first phase by using Brave Burst or Super Brave Burst on all of your units, but the thing is this will clash with the rule against Tilith, where if you do use all 6 of your Brave Bursts / Super Brave Bursts, then you may trigger her to drain all your units' Brave Burst gauges, so be careful of that. The alternative way, which is the way I used here, is I used Sirius's UBB to survive Carl's ultimate Brave Burst attack, and that worked out pretty fine. I didn't really lose any units at all. So in my opinion, it's usually better to use UBB mitigation here to survive Carl's 20% HP attack. Now in terms of the team composition, so for alternative units, Shida can be replaced with Alanon. Alanon is a whole lot better here, or any unit that has all element buffs. If you are fortunate enough to have Zeruia, she's a nice replacement here as well. Xerte can be replaced with Bourn, or any good damage output leader. Nyami is pretty much a filler unit, like I said earlier. She's just a nuker, but you can replace her with Selena or any other single target nuker. And then Sirius, any unit that gives Brave Bursts on Spark, can replace him. Kulyuk can be replaced with Leomurg, but usually it's very good to bring a Kulyuk friend, so try to look for one. And then Magress, he's pretty much irreplaceable until there are Omni units later on that have 2-turn mitigation, and they can replace Magress. Now in the 3rd phase, you will be up against Tilith's 7-star form, and the rules have completely changed in this phase now. So every 5 turns, Tilith will be using 2 single target attacks. So the 2 single target attacks don't hit that hard if you have mitigation on, but then she will, on her 3rd attack on that turn, will use a drain on all of your units' Brave Burst gauges. This is why I highly recommend bringing that 2-turn mitigation, because it helps to tackle that BB drain and provides you ample time to fill up your unit's Brave Burst gauges. Also, every 2 turns, while Tilith's HP is above 50%, she will keep changing elements and gaining different buffs depending on the element that she changes into. So if she changes into a fire element, then she gains a very small attack buff and she becomes vulnerable to injury. If she turns into a water element, she gains a small BB modification buff and becomes vulnerable to sickness. If she changes to an earth element, then she gains a small attack and defense buff and becomes vulnerable to injury. And then if she turns into a thunder element, which is the key element you want to be looking out for, she will gain a probable damage reflection buff. So make sure when she is a thunder element, you're using your healer last. Now once you pass 50% HP on Tilith's 7 stars HP bar, she will stop changing elements and she will revert back into her light element, and when she does this she will gain an angel idol as well. Furthermore, Tilith will be using a very powerful single target nuke attack on a random unit for every 12 Brave Burst or Super Brave Burst attacks you use. So it's usually best to use 12 Brave Burst or Super Brave Burst attacks, and then make sure you have Mitigation on and guard the unit with the lowest HP. It's very dependent on RNG, so this is why you really want some revives left over for phase 3, because she can nuke any random unit and you won't know which unit could go down. Now once you get Tilith to 20% HP, she will enter overdrive and she will gain a 100% mitigation buff, as well as decrease your unit's BB Gorge fill rates. She will charge up for 3 turns and then she will use her ultimate Brave Burst attack. Now to cancel out her ultimate Brave Burst attack, you need to use 20 Brave Burst or Super Brave Burst attacks over that 3-turn charge period. Any ultimate Brave Burst attacks you use during this while she's in overdrive will count as 3 Brave Bursts. So this is why I highly recommend just completely using up all your Fujin tonics here, or Fujin potions, and use any hero crystals you have left over. So in this case what I did was I used Sirius's ultimate Brave Burst twice, so that counted as 6 Brave Bursts instead of 2, and that pretty much helped to take down her mitigation buff as quick as possible. Now if you fail to do this, she will heal up a lot of HP, and then you will have to deal with this HP threshold once again. So make sure you are doing those 20 Brave Burst / Super Brave Burst attacks to cancel out her overdrive, or you will have to go through this entire phase again. And that is it for this trial. To be honest, the first phase is, in my opinion, the hardest phase. The second phase is slightly easier than the first phase, and then the third phase, if you have revives left over, you should be able to do it very easily. Having that new cost such as Nyami here does help a ton to get through this trial as quick as possible. And that is it for this trial, guys. I hope this helped you out. If you do find that you didn't read what move Tilith used, then you can go into the menu and go look at the BB log, and that will show you whether she used the hemisphere attack. So that does help a lot. And for completing this trial, you will get the material required to evolve Tilith to her 7-star form, which is Grand Opal. In this case I already completed the trial, so I didn't get the material. And that is it for this video, guys. I hope it helped you out. Be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you have not already, and as usual guys, I'll be sure to see you in the next one. See ya.